Thank you everyone for joining us today on our Lunch and Learn Are You a Carer? You Might Be an Unpaid Carer and Not Know It webinar. I just want to let you all know that this webinar is being recorded and within the next couple of weeks. Anyone who's registered for the webinar will receive an email with a link to access the recording for you to look at your own leisure. My name is Caitlin, and I work as part of the engagement team here at Carer Gateway. And I've worked within the Carer Gateway for the last 5 years in a couple of different roles. And I'll be presenting today along with my colleague Sue. Sue, did you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everybody. Thank you all for being here. My name's Sue, and I'm the Carer Engagement Lead at Carer Gateway, and I've been here for about 3 years and many years' experience in the carer sector. So really happy to be here with you.
Thanks, Sue. Just so you all know, we do have 2 other previous webinars that were presented last month, and these focused on our counselling and coaching services and are currently available on our YouTube. So if you want to know more information about those services, please feel free to go to the Whole Step Health YouTube and you'll be able to watch those in your own time. At the end of today, we will have a short Q&A section, so please feel free to use the chat function to ask us any questions along the way, and we'll try to answer any of these at the end of the presentation. But if we run out of time, we'll also send a follow-up email answering any of those questions. So without further ado, I might get started. First, I would like to do an acknowledgement of country. Whole Step Health acknowledges the traditional custodians of the land and waterways on which we work. We pay our deep respect to elders past and present, and we recognise that sovereignty was never ceded and that Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples maintain an enduring connection to country. We understand that health and well-being cannot be separated from justice, truth and self-determination. Whole Step Health acknowledges the strength and resilience of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people and affirms our responsibility to work alongside First Peoples in achieving equity and healing. We would like to acknowledge carers and their lived experience. Whole Step Health acknowledges, promotes and values the role of carers and the important contribution that people in care relationships make to our community. We recognise the unique knowledge that carers hold about the person they care for. We acknowledge that we can only provide quality care through valuing, respecting and drawing upon the lived experience, expertise of consumers, their families, carers and friends, staff and the local communities. So to get started, we're just going to run through who are carers.
Exactly. The $64 million question, who are carers? So carers are anybody in the community who provide unpaid support to a family member, friend or partner that may have a disability, mental illness, a chronic health issue or age-related condition. And just to put it into perspective, there's 800,000 carers in Victoria. So that's about 1 in 8 people in Victoria are a carer.
Common signs you are in a caring role is that your support is ongoing and could last longer than 6 months. You regularly help someone with everyday tasks such as tasks or organising their services, and you're still a carer even if you provided support for just 1 to 2 hours per week. Sue, when did you realise that you were a carer?
That's a great question. It actually took me a while to realise I was a carer. I really didn't consider that. I didn't consider that word. I didn't actually really know what that word meant. I was just a daughter helping out her mum with things like grocery shopping and doctor's appointments. Even when I moved in with mum to support her when she got older, and I also had my teenage daughter living with me as well. I still just thought that was pretty normal. And it probably wasn't until I started feeling, maybe even a couple of years into sort of living with mum and caring for her, when I started realising the weight of juggling, doing things for mum, thinking about myself, juggling work, juggling my teenage daughter. And then I realised I'm actually making decisions about mum's welfare here. So things have actually changed. So yeah, it certainly does take some time to get to that point. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing. Carers can help in many different ways. So sometimes they can help a loved one with shopping. They can coordinate services. They can do cleaning at the person's house, especially if they don't live together, and they can help them by attending appointments.
And there is a difference in helping out and providing ongoing unpaid care. So we'll just go through a couple of examples for you, just to tell the difference, I guess. When you're helping somebody out, it's really just an occasional short-term assistance. For example, helping your neighbour carrying their groceries, or helping your neighbour mow their lawn once a month. That's just a very irregular task, and it's usually a simple task. So support's not regular when you're just helping out a friend, or even a family member. And one key message is that you could easily step away from that role, and there would be no major circumstances to that person receiving help from you.
So providing ongoing unpaid care can look like regular long-term support for someone with a disability, illness, mental health challenges, or age-related needs. This assistance is part of your routine and involves responsibility and coordination. The role may include personal care, emotional support, managing appointments, medications, and services, and the person can be being cared for relies on you, and stopping care would significantly affect their well-being. Some of the other types of tasks that carers often do are things like meal prep, making decisions on the behalf of the care recipient, gardening, supervising people who can't be left alone, especially in the case when potentially someone has dementia. Caring can really be as little as 2 hours a week, or as high as sort of 24-hour supervision. It really just depends on the needs of the person being cared for. And carers can also have multiple caring roles. They might be looking after their parents, their children, or their partner all at the same time. So we're just going to go through are you a carer and sort of the impact of caring. We have a couple of different carer profiles that we're going to talk you through to help you understand what different types of carers will look like. So the first one is Tracy. She's a parent carer and cares full time for her son Mark with disability, managing medical condition appointments, therapy, schooling, and daily personal care. She balances her caring responsibility with work and family life, often experiencing emotional and physical fatigue. Another example is John. He's a spousal carer. He cares for his wife Mel with dementia, manages medication, appointment, personal care, and household responsibilities while navigating his own aging and health needs. We also have a young adult carer, Sarah. She supports her mother who has mental health challenges while studying full-time in school, takes on household tasks, emotional supports, and coordination of services, often missing out on her own social and personal opportunities. We just wanted to expand a little bit on people's ideas of what a carer looks like. So you can be a parent, a spouse, or a child, and your role may actually look. This is when people are in roles like this, it's really hard for them to recognize themselves as carers, because their natural desire is to just care for these types of people in their lives. And it's important for people to know that there are supports available when you are taking on additional responsibilities for someone close to you. And it's not necessarily someone close to you, but you are supporting someone because they don't have anyone else. An example of that is often neighbours. We would find in the Carer Gateway service that often a neighbour would present to us to get support because they've taken on a caring role for someone they don't know very well, who potentially could be frail due to age, because there's no one else around to help them with support. Why do many carers not recognise their role until much later? Well, many carers don't know their role because caregiving develops gradually. Responsibilities often feel like a natural part of being a spouse, child, or family member, and not a distinct care role. Tasks are seen as just doing what's right, and making a formal label feels unnecessary. A lot of things the carers do, particularly for their children, seem like parenting. It's important to consider, would you be providing this level of support to them if they didn't have a disability? If not, you are a carer.
that my personal experience was that. So the word carer did not actually exist in my family. Basically, a carer was somebody that was a nurse or somebody that was a professional in that sort of care, medical, healthcare field. So it's important to, I guess, just realize that perhaps even in your own culture, this may not be something that is recognized as a word. I mean, mum used to actually laugh at me when I used to say, "Oh, mum, I'm your carer." She'd be like, "No, you're not, you're my daughter." So it's something that you really need to almost get an understanding yourself on, and accept that the word carer is part of that role that you're playing, that you're actually that you're doing at that time. When we support carers, because they are twice as likely to have low well-being, and I think this also takes a little bit of time to kind of get a grip on, because when you're not recognizing that you're a carer and you're thinking, "Oh, I'm just a little bit tired, I'm a bit stressed," and those things can actually be relating to your caring role. So it's really important that you reach out to Carer Gateway. So psychological distress, financial stress, just health in general can really be impacted when you are a carer. And that's why Carer Gateway exists, to support carers in those scenarios. And Caitlin, I'm just wondering, could you maybe just give some examples or some common reasons that carers need support?
And so often carers would reach out to a service like Carer Gateway because they had an injury, something like a broken arm, which would mean that they couldn't do their normal caring duties. They might have reached a point of burnout and they need support to help get back to a healthy normal. Often they might not have any informal support from other family members and need help to get access to things like the NDIS supported home, formerly known as My Aged Care, or sometimes it would also be because the care recipient's condition has declined rapidly and they just need more support from services, and a short-term support like Carer Gateway is a great thing to reach out to in any of those situations. So now we're going to go into a little bit more information about Carer Gateway.
So what is Carer Gateway? So it's a national government funded program that's available across the whole country. In Victoria, it is led by Whole Step Health, and it is providing unpaid carers free services and support. I was just going to say, just to go into the way it works in Victoria, just with regards to the way the services are provided. Obviously, the focus is on the central focus is on the Carer Gateway, on the carer, and we cover the whole of Victoria when we're supporting carers. So we work with 7 different health partners across the state to deliver the program, and we've got a little map here just to show you exactly what that looks like. So in Melbourne metropolitan area, we work with Whole Step Health, who leads the program as well, Alfred Health and Uniting Vic Tas. And you're not expected to remember any of this, but we'll send this out to you for your information. And regionally, we work with our partners, Grampians Health, Bendigo Health, Uniting Vic Tas, Bowen Health and Family Care. So that's how we cover the whole state with our services and supports on the ground.
And so I'm just going to go over the eligibility for Carer Gateway. So to access the program, you must be a carer for a family member, friend or partner, and the caring role is ongoing or likely to be for at least 6 months. This isn't applicable though if the person you're caring for is in palliative care or you've recently been bereaved as a carer. There's an exception to that rule then. But there are no requirements for people to be citizens, residents or have a visa in Australia. Our program isn't means tested and it's not affected by any other government supports, including care allowance or carer payment. In fact, we're here to make sure that you're accessing everything that you possibly could be. So how does Carer Gateway work? So this is just a quick little flowchart about sort of the process of connecting with Carer Gateway. So the first thing you do is get in touch with us, and you can do that by calling our national number, which is 1800 422 737, or you can visit our website, which is www.carergateway.gov.au, and fill out a self-referral form. Often people might get referred from other services as well, which is very helpful for us. Once you've gotten in touch with us, we then do something called support planning, and we put you in touch with your local provider, like we mentioned previously on that map, and they will determine what specific supports and service best help you. Support planning is really focused on you as a carer. We do discuss your caring role with you, but primarily the conversation is about making sure that you're looking after yourself, and you have all of the supports you need to be able to continue your caring role in a sustainable way. Once you've completed support planning, you'll then get access to supports, and the carer can receive a variety of supports through the Carer Gateway, which we'll talk about in a second. And then we also do check-ins with carers after they've accessed services through our program. So we are a short-term support, but carers are able to represent to us if they have a new need for support. Often that might happen, as I mentioned before, if the person they're caring for might have had a fall or a decline in their condition, potentially they need more support at a particular time, they can call back and get more services from us if needed. We're going to run through our supports and services now, so giving you an idea of what's available in Carer Gateway.
Yeah. So what do these supports look like? We could split them into two different sections, I guess. There's practical supports and emotional supports that we provide. Part of those is emergency and planned respite care. So if there's any sort of emergencies where the carer requires somebody to come and care for the person that they're caring for, in case they go into hospital, for example, or there's planned respite if they would like to take a break, of course. Other parts of the emotional side is the counselling, coaching and peer support that we provide as well. And these are all free services for you. And practical supports, we have tailored support packages. The carer support planning is what Caitlin just talked through with, which is the phone call that you have with one of our care support planners. Tailored support packages are just very practical things that you can receive based on your individual requirements. And of course, there's information and advice that we can provide as well. And we'll just go into what the emotional supports look like in a bit more detail.
Yeah, so I'm just going to run through our emotional supports. So the first one we have is our carer counselling. So this is a free and confidential support service that provides carers with a safe space to talk about emotional and practical challenges of the caring role. It supports carers to manage stress, build coping strategies, and maintain their well-being while caring for someone else. So carers can access up to 6 one-hour sessions, and they're available in person, by phone, or video conference. And appointments are available Monday to Friday during business hours. So carer counselling is carer focused, which makes it different to a lot of other types of counselling supports that you may hear about. We really are focusing on you as a carer and the challenges and things that you are facing. Another type of emotional support we offer here at Carer Gateway is called carer coaching. Carer coaching can help you find a space in your life to balance your own needs with the needs of people you care for. Through coaching, you can explore practical steps and strategies to move closer to personal goals and well-being. And this is done through a one-to-one session with a trained coach. So coaching can take place via the phone or video appointment. And we also have some resources on our website about self-guided coaching. This can explore topics such as finances, health, emotions, supportive relationships, work, study, and more. And it's designed for carers to work through on their own pace.
And Caitlin, you were a carer coach at one point as well. What types of things did you discuss with carers?
Yeah, it was really common for carers to want to prioritize things like their physical health or their diet. So sometimes, I'd be working with carers on goals to, just even get out for a walk once a week for half an hour, or practical ways to help them improve their diet. We also sometimes would talk about things like getting ready to go back to work after a sort of a period of being away. So just whatever the carer needed to help them be where they wanted to be in their life.
Yeah, that's great. I've heard the term that coaching is looking forward and counselling is unpacking what's behind
What's
what's
behind?
happened.
Yeah,
Yeah,
great
yeah,
way to put
yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I just wanted to touch on the peer support because this is something I personally experienced as a carer as well. It's a great way for carers to connect with other carers and feel supported through their journey, through their caring journey. I think a lot of people that have just realised they're a carer may feel quite alone. Sometimes family members aren't as available or aren't as supportive as one would think. Personally, I'm an only child, so it was me looking after mum. So to find a group that I could actually relate to and just feel as though I'm having a bit of a break as well, even though I'm talking about my experience and being able to share and hear what other people, other people's contributions are. It was still like having a little bit of a break and certainly not feeling like I was so alone. So the other thing to think about as well is you can actually speak to our team to arrange some short-term respite if you would like to engage in a peer support group. It's a great way to make new friends and continue that mateship, I guess, and along the way. And we just want to go into practical supports now for you.
Yep. So I'm just going to explain our two different types of respite. So the first one is planned respite, or respite care, is when someone else takes care of the person with care needs. So it allows a carer to take a break. Planned respite can be accessed through our tailored support package, and respite can be either in home or in home for like potentially a few hours at a time, or it could be a residential facility. So often people who are in aged care, people who are older, who can access services through the aged care system may book for their care recipient to go into residential respite for 2 weeks to have a longer break and not just for a few hours. The other type of respite you can access through the Care Gateway is something called emergency respite. So this is available in times of crisis at short notice if you become sick or injured and can't continue to care for your loved one. Emergency respite is available to take over care while you recover. I personally think this is one of the best parts of our service, that we're able to offer emergency respite. And carers don't need to be registered beforehand to access emergency respite. They can call and do a brief registration and then access emergency respite if it's deemed to be a crisis and you need care for your loved one. So just to go into our tailored support packages a little bit more, they provide carers with choice and control over what supports are provided to them through the Care Gateway, and they can be offered through two different options. So the first one is a one-off practical support for items and services, and that these might include things like items to assist you in education or employment, or a training course to assist you to find work, or another short course related to your caring role. The second option is a tailored support package, which can be funded for up to 12 months. And this might have services like planned respite, cleaning services, assistance with transport, just such as paying for taxis to transport you to medical appointments. And it would have a combination of those things within the tailored support package.
And just to touch on young carers who are also a part of the group that we support. So anybody under the age of 25 is considered a young carer, and young carers rarely identify as young carers, even more so than just a general caring role. We need to just be aware of these young people that are in these situations where they might be providing some additional support to a sibling or to a parent. That's the sort of they don't need to be providing 24-hour care. They can be providing emotional support that can impact their their school life, their social life, and then so the way we can support them is through things that can bring them back into social situations, school holiday programs, camps, etc. We also support with educational items and IT equipment, and driving lessons is a big one too that people don't really think about. And sometimes you get to that point where you think, how am I going to teach my child when all this is going on. But driving lessons is certainly one that's very popular. So please, just another one to consider is the young carer in the family that can also access supports through Carer Gateway. I think that's all we've got for you today. So if you would like to get in touch, please call 1800 422 737. You can scan the QR code that's on the screen at the moment. That will take you to a form that you can fill out for a callback. It's very basic information that we need from you, and one of the team can give you a call and discuss your needs further. But we thank you so much for being here with us today. This webinar will be available as a recording. So thank you to those that are watching the recording at a later date. So we hope you gain some insight into what a caring role looks like, and most importantly, the supports that are available for you. So we might just check and see if there's any questions.
I was going to say, there's a couple of people in the chat asking to get a copy of the presentation, and that's definitely something we'll email to you all after today, so you can have a look through, and then once we have the recording ready as well, we'll send that to everyone. Did anyone have any other specific questions about the program, though, that we didn't answer?
Someone asked, is there a wait list for the Carer Gateway services?
Good question. It will depend on the local provider. So as we mentioned earlier, we have 7 different health services that we work with. So once you are referred to that service, there's usually I don't know, there can be a couple of days wait. There can be, that's generally speaking.
From what I've heard recently, I think getting in touch with us to do intake is very quick.
Very quick, yes.
Very quick. And then just getting the support planning appointment, sometimes it might be 1 to 2 weeks, depending on the service and how much capacity they have at that time. But I do believe our wait times are quite good at the moment. There was another question. Alison's asked, how do you qualify as a young carer?
Just have to be in a caring role and be under 25. So if you are supporting somebody, a friend, a family member, you give us a call. If you are under the age of 16, a parent needs to be calling on your behalf. Over that age, you can give us a call directly and we have a chat to you. Our intake team will have a chat to you about your caring role. And then again, we'll refer you to your local provider there to talk about what services and supports are available to you. But there's no tick box qualification type scenario. We will just talk to you about the role that you have and go from there.
And then someone else just asked as well, how do you access coaching sessions? I would just say if you're reaching out to us to access any services, call our 1-800 number and mention that you've heard about coaching and you're interested. And when you're doing your support planning, they'll connect you with a coach and refer you onto that part of the program.
Yeah. Any other questions here? Somebody asked they would like to ask more specifically about support for gaining empowerment in future. I think that's a really great example of coaching sessions that could help in that scenario. So I'd certainly get in touch with the team to talk about some coaching sessions, and there's 6 of those that you can get for free. What else have we got there?
Another question is New South Wales covered by your service?
Only Albury. We do cover the border town of Wodonga, Albury, just because that's how the LGA fits. New South Wales is covered by a different provider, but the number is the same for the whole of Australia. And so if you call 1800 422 737, no matter where you are, you'll be connected with the Carer Gateway service in your local area. And the types of services that are offered across Australia are all the same because it's a federal program. So
Another question, do you still help for the carers if patient is headed towards palliative care?
Definitely, Steph. That's a very key time where carers needs a lot of support.
Absolutely. And certainly there's also a triage process as well. So keep in mind too, if you are in a potentially a crisis situation or a situation such as palliative care, we certainly, triage those carers according to their needs, their urgent needs. So absolutely with palliative care, we would love to support you.
Well, I think we might leave it there if no one else has any questions. Thank you so much for joining us all today. We hope that you gained some more insight into what a caring role looks like and who a carer is, and most importantly, to know that there are supports available for you too. Great.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.